Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Just Us Review, where we like to take our favorite superhero shows and break them down and kind of give a well-rounded discussion of what we thought about them. Now, for this week, we're going to be talking about The Flash, Episode 3. We're going to be talking about Arrow, Episode 2, and we're going to be talking about the Black Lightning, Episode 3. Alright, and if you want to just skip down to the ones you prefer, like Black Lightning, then the time codes will be on the side, so you can just go straight to them. Alright?
Yep.
Let's kick it. We start off with The Flash Season 6, Episode 3. And we saw it, and mixed reviews about it, but who want to kick this turd first?
Did you say mix?
I kind of want to build up something.
I got you.
I'll start.
First of all, let me give you the build up. So, kicking it off with The Flash Season 6, Episode 3. Now, the episode kicks off. Barry's trying to come to grips with the fact that he's going to die in Final Crisis. Him and Iris trying to figure out how they're going to tell the team. Meanwhile, Caitlin is throwing a temper tantrum. Dibney is having family issues. And the new meta on the scene, Mohinder, is having issues coming to terms with his own death as well. So, kicking that off, how did you like the episode?
Okay, just a quick aside, I can finally call him, his character name is Ramsey, but I'm still probably going to call him Mohinder.
He's Mohinder to me.
Yeah,
okay.
I just like it.
Yeah.
All right.
So, once again, this episode shows how he is the strongest actor in everybody. So, okay, since this was I have a lot of gripes about this episode, which is typical because it is The Flash. And my main gripe is, at the end of the day, we're treating Caitlin like she's a 4-year-old girl again. Like, that's just discovering life. Yeah. But, like, at the same time, she knows people in low places that can get her things and shit like that. So either you had a life or you don't have a life. Which one is it?
This all boils down to CW writing. They don't know how to write Caitlin. They don't know how to keep her in the show, whether to keep her out or not. The whole Killer Frost thing, like we've been saying, either you throw it away, you don't use it, because in this context, it does not make any sense.
I've always been of the mind that Killer Frost and Caitlin should have been two separate characters.
Like split them off?
Split them up.
Okay, for one, if Mohinder doesn't know Barry Allen is the Flash, then he's a stupid scientist.
Barry.
He's a really fucking stupid scientist, because he clocked Caitlin immediately. And then we see Killer Frost and the Flash in costume together.
And he would go like, maybe you're the Flash.
But here's the biggest thing I took away from this episode. So once again, it's the Flash. So they keep secrets from each other and lie to each other until they feel like it's time to tell them. Okay, so Barry is like, I gotta get them prepared to take care of
things when I'm gone.
Exactly. Which is dumb because did we forget you was in the Speed Force and they was handling shit just fine?
Yeah.
Did we forget that?
But he's thinking, I'm so important to this world, if I leave, everything will shut down.
Is he also forgetting there's another speedster technically still on that Earth?
Yeah.
In the name of Wally West?
So they find out that someone stole
the dark matter.
Yeah, the dark matter shit. And Caitlin immediately knows who it is and goes to him. They get there and then Barry's like, you can't just ambush him and blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, but I know he did it. And then and then later in the scene, because Mohinder was like, well, I can help you. I can help you track down the guy and all of this shit. And then later in the scene, Barry leaves the room and like, he didn't even wait. He just starts
stealing shit. Like, I'm gonna take this clock radio. I was like, whoa, can he go down the hall before you start robbing the lab?
Exactly.
At least leave the paint on the wall.
And then Barry catches them, and this is what pisses me off. Barry's like, I didn't want to believe it, but I can always tell what a desperate man looks like. And I'm like, no, the line should be, I didn't want to believe it, but Caitlin was right.
Oh, no.
He never gave Caitlin credit for the fact that she was the one that said this motherfucker is shady. And then he never even apologized.
So here's the part that trips me out. The meta of this episode was a crackhead.
Yeah, a dead crackhead.
It was a dead crackhead. And I know what y'all thinking. We're were being funny. No,
Is this iZombie?
No. And maybe we use the hyperbole. No, it was a dead crackhead. It was a guy who died. He became a junkie on dark matter, and he would go around attacking people who had dark matter. And you gonna tell the way they killed him by
giving him more,
by overdosing him. They gave him more crack. It's episode 3, so it's time to add more silly shit. We get introduced to the whales of the season.
Did not say that episode 3 of every season we get a whale.
You did say that, and this is Indiana Jones whales. It's like the guy who writes this is bored.
Yeah, he's bored. He's bored, or he's doing it at the last minute. He's clicked on the TV, Temple of Doom was on. That.
He's like, you know what? I need to make this show more cartoony and unwatchable.
You're doing Crisis, and we already know that Wells is gonna be Pariah. It just should have been Pariah.
Is that the same Wells?
No,
That's gonna be Pariah,
we don't care.
Okay. So here's what really grinded my gears about this episode. Like you said, Caitlin is discovering life for the first time because she's 4. And we also figure out that Dibney finds out that Santa Claus isn't real.
This shit was so stupid. Let me speak. You'll let me tag me out on this one.
All right, before I tag you in, I don't know who thought this was like the thing to do. Like pairing up D.A. Thicky with Ralph Dibney means let's turn on the cartoons.
They always do that.
What is this?
Tag me in.
Every time.
This is what if okay, Ralph finds out that the men that she dated didn't actually die, that she just broke up with them. And the fact, we're not even going to get into that.
But the fact,
man. As a grown man, he could, because what happened was Ralph's dad had left when he was a kid, and it broke him apart. So from then on, whenever his mom wanted a side piece, she just told Ralph that the dude she was dating died. And then Ralph learned that apparently they're still alive, and this breaks him. And now he can't look at his mommy with respect. Well,
this was a serious thing that they wrote. He's a detective. That's what makes it worse. He is a detective. He pays taxes. And he didn't just sit around thinking, all my mommy's boyfriends died. That's fucking weird. Either she's a murderer or she lied to me. Come on now.
This is C.W. writing at his finest.
He should be fired.
Somebody should take his license away.
So whoever wrote that needs to be fired and his ass whooped. I can't believe that was serious.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of fire, how about we have a lawyer in an illegal gambling ring, gambling at an illegal poker table.
And with all these tells, hey, he's frowning, go all in.
She's using her meta abilities to con the table. At the same time, so loud and divert with it. He's lying about his cards. I was like, what the shit?
Like, that dude could have just killed them at any moment. Like, what was stopping him from just shooting them?
Exactly.
Plot. Now, hold up. To get even dumber, so we have Iris, who's running a newspaper in 2019. And now she's hired on staff. And then this girl actually goes out and does her job and find out that we have another Wells in our dimension.
Or as they believe that Harrison Wells never died.
Exactly. That's the only plausible thing to go out because she doesn't know about extra-dimensional stuff. She brings this to Iris, and Iris clearly lies to the girl's face, and she's like, I smell bullshit. So the girl turns around and catches Iris lying, and she's looking like, but Barry.
Here's my thing. She gave her the choice. She said, tell me the truth or I'm leaving right now. Iris was like, I can't tell you the truth, but just believe me that I'm going to tell you in due time.
After you lied to my face.
Not even going that far necessarily. Like, What's so bad about telling her that there are other dimensions out there?
Especially when, so this is what makes it even more weird to me. We opened up to Cisco's girlfriend about all this shit, right?
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't mind that. But Cisco could break up with her tomorrow over some stupid shit, and she just out there in the wild knowing what they do and start laughing. But this girl, who is a meta, by the way, so it's not like weird shit isn't uncommon to her. They hire her on, and it's like, dude, you gotta know that in the life that you married a fuckboy with super speed. He does weird shit in this lab. They save the world on the regular. This is your life. So whatever you do in life, if you decide to bring someone in on that life, that's the choice you gotta make.
Here's the dumb part about this. You're trying to hide this from a reporter who's basically a better detective than Ralph. And you thought that you were gonna come over.
There is absolutely nothing wrong. Like, you don't even have to expose their secret identities. Just say, I work with the Flash. Because people know Iris worked with the Flash anyway.
Exactly.
I work with the Flash. There's some meta-human stuff going on. There's extra-dimensional alien stuff going on every now and then. This is not Harrison Wells. This is another Harrison from another dimension. Boom, bam, simple.
What I told you guys this from the beginning. They do not care anymore. They are literally limping towards Final Crisis and throwing whatever they can at the table.
I understand that, but you telling me not one actor on the Flash looked at the script and said, I'm not saying these lines? Not one?
No,
not one.
I'll tell you how I know they said no, because Mohinder picked up the script, read the part where he says, I'm going to play Simon Says with a junkie. And acted this out. So we find out that Mohinder has the ability to control dark matter. And we figure this out because when the crackhead dark matter junkie breaks into the lab and Mohinder starts doing Simon Says with him, and he starts mirroring his actions, we figure out he can control it. That was a thing. As Caitlin was throwing temper tantrums because she doesn't know how to use her words. But you know what? I'm tired of kicking this dead horse.
Yeah,
let's move on to something more sensible.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, the Super Friends.
Alright folks, back at it again. Right now we're about to talk about Arrow, and this is episode 2. So, Oliver and company are back from Earth 2 after it's been wiped away. They're still reeling from the effects. Right now we have Diggle and Oliver trying to find another object on the monitor's list. And we find Oliver trying to figure out, is this quest really what it's chopped up to be? Meanwhile, in the future, we don't care. So let's get down to the nit.
I mean, why sugarcoat that shit?
Let's get down to the nit and the grit of what's going on and how we like this episode. Let's go ahead. Who wants to kick this off?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
So, we're kind of in this middling with Arrow where it's not terrible, but it's not great either. The best things I can say about this episode, honestly, were the fight scenes, and that's being generous.
Let me push back a little bit on that one. Some of the fights are like they're just fighting just because at one instance, a guy knocked over a dude's coffee and a huge fight scene broke out.
So here's the thing.
Like they're using fight choreography to help pad the story.
That is true, because here's the thing. When it was just Oliver and Diggle throwing hands in the beginning, that stuff looked good, but only because Diggle was holding it down. Yeah, so I know you said that you thought the fight choreography was good. I thought it was mediocre fight choreography that they chopped up and made worse. Because that opening fight scene could have been so much better, but it was cutting back and forth and doing the choppy shit. It's interesting that you say that, because now, I didn't see any of that you talked about.
Now, in the midst of this fight scene, we get introduced to another hero. Katana enters the scene where she helps out Oliver and Diggle. They join together to try to find this doctor who apparently created this virus that can wipe out the huge population. Now, following the story is actually a little intriguing because Katana does something important. She forces Oliver to actually question what's going on instead of falling in line with this space dude. Some dude drops out of space and says, Oliver, you better fall in line or the world will die. And he doesn't even ask a simple question. And he does it without even blinking, just because he came from space.
Well, can you really say that? Because he disobeyed the first time and Laurel's world died. So here's the thing about that. I call 100% bullshit on that. I think Laurel's world was always gonna die, and the Monitor was just mad that Oliver didn't do what he told him to do. Oh, see, you misunderstood. I didn't care. I'm just telling you what the sequence of events was. Oliver was tasked to do something in the first episode. He didn't do it all the way, and Laurel's world died.
Speaking of Laurel, so now we're in this part. We're in this part where Laurel is trying to deal with the fact that her world is gone, and now she's teaming up with Lila for whatever reason, because apparently Argus doesn't need to be ran, and Lila comes all the way over to support Laurel.
Let me tell you why she teamed up with Lila. Because they needed a character and they wanted to do that stupid reveal at the end. So this is my thing. This storyline was a waste of fucking time.
I told you they're limping towards crisis. How many times I gotta tell you they're limping towards crisis? But go ahead.
So Laurel like crying. The dude told her, "I can't fix your fucking machine."
Let me speak on this for a second. So Laurel's upset because she can't get back to her world. She tracks down some guy to fix Cisco's tech instead of going to Cisco to get it fixed. The guy is like, I don't know how to fix this because this ain't my area of expertise. Which Laurel's like, you're gonna fix it, I'm gonna kill you. Why are you Lila's just standing there letting this happen? So the guy magically okay, it's kind of like this. If you are a biologist and somebody told you to do physics stuff, you be like, I can't do that, that's not my field. She's like, no, do physics. So that's
what happened.
By a miracle he fixes it, but she can't get to her world, so it no longer exists.
He didn't fix shit. It was never broken. It was never broken.
So she goes to use it, and he's like, your world doesn't exist. Here's a map. By the way, the fact that he had a mapping of the multiverse.
That's really fucking convenient. But at the same time, he needed to show her you are done. This is over.
Wait, mind you, this isn't his field of expertise.
Yeah.
He just has a map to the multiverse. So he's like, I see Earth 37. I don't see Earth 2 on the menu. In which she immediately pulls a gun and prepares to kill him. So I was like, not only did this guy figure out how to fix tech, he had no hand in making. He filled your request, and because what everybody told you, watched your universe disintegrate. But yet you want to sit here in a state of disbelief. Oh no, everybody got dropped off in basketball. Like dumbshit.com. So what else?
Like, okay, so the poster to that shit is then like she's all crying and everyone I ever loved is there. And I'm like, okay, if we track you as a character, you are a fucking supervillain on your world. And then you've been on Earth 1 for like 3 or 4 years now. You didn't love anybody. Then we supposed to believe you was just this fucking established hero when we get back the first episode. Like, get all the way the hell out.
So let's move the ball forward. So now, hold up, I gotta get through this part. Future stuff happens, it does not matter. Look at me, it does not matter in the least bit. You know what? Every season we have a fuck around game. And you know who that is?
The entire future.
The entire
future. Everyone that sets foot in there, everyone involved, the villains, the heroes.
If you really want to know what happens in the future, let's see, Bronze Tiger's son and Diggle Jr. have a talk. Oh, and my favorite part of that one is, what's her name? Mia gets mad at Bronze Tiger's son. It's like, don't get in my way when it comes to your brother. And I sit back and like, he didn't get in your way last time.
Exactly.
You just got your ass
beat because you fucking low tier. You know what? We're doing this. Let's talk about it. So then we tried it her way, and they get there. He knew they were coming, set that shit up, and her brother, of course, gets captured because we need a damsel in distress. So we tried it. What next? We're gonna let.
When are we gonna face the fact that the new team just sucks?
Exactly. And Mia is the the albatross around their neck.
I know they're trying to get this series to push off, but all needs to be pushed off in is the toilet and flushed. Now, let's get back to the main storyline. So, they track down the doctor. They meet China White because Kelly Hu needs gas money. Mm-hmm. Kelly Hu shows up to the set as China White. She's holding the doctor hostage. So now Diggle, Katana, and Oliver have to show up to get the doctor, and then a fight breaks out.
You know what's sad about that Kelly Hu need gas money? She too fine for that.
Exactly. But she drives a Tesla and she still tries to pump the gas. So in the middle of the fight, Kelly Hu ends up stabbing Katana with a butter knife. Katana breaks down all dramatic. Oh my God, I'm not gonna make it. And then at the last minute, Laura shows up and Sonic blasts China White into the water. Yeah. Which my question was, why didn't this bitch just do that 5 feet sooner so she could save Katana the knife fight
from getting shanked in the... So let me speak on this Katana versus China Cat. So what really irks the shit out of me about that is that should have been the fight that should have been the best choreographed, and it looked the worst in the entire
it pretty much
was such a disappointment.
It was this, but a little glorified.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. Such a disappointment. As soon as they put on their costumes, the fight choreography dipped, and it's blatantly apparent when Oliver is in the elevator beating up them soldiers, and he was getting worse.
He was getting his ass whipped.
Like they was doing basic
put it like this. No, so Oliver descends. So there's the 5 soldiers in the elevator. Oliver descends from the elevator, puts one in the chokehold. He's like, "Who's this weak bitch?" Flips Oliver around and he starts stomping him out.
Like there's one scene where I know he gets hit in the chest 3 times. And I'm like, you was wide open. You didn't even try to block. So I want to say something. Let's cap off the episode with the fact that Lila and the Monitor know each other.
So why is this all-powerful being going behind people's backs? This makes no sense.
Exactly. You're a guy who gives a fuck.
Exactly.
When Oliver was questioning you, you should have been like, "I told you what to do. If you don't do it, I'll wipe the planet out." He said, "Laura's world died because you disobeyed me. Now don't do it again."
You missed the part where we said, "Boy." So right now we have some real contingencies about the Monitor because if you this all-powerful wizard or whatever, why are you dipping behind Oliver and Diggle's back to talk to his wife? But you know what? That's neither here and there. All in all, this episode fell hard.
I gotta say something too, and this speaks to Arrow in total, but it's very evident in this episode. I think it's funny that with the crisis coming, Arrow is doing the most to tie to Crisis out of all the CW shows, and is also doing the most to undermine Crisis. And let me tell you why and how. This is why fundamentally the future shit is bullshit. Mm-hmm. If there is a future, why the fuck should we watch Crisis?
Exactly, because you're pretty much telling us the end point of it.
When they did the future shit last season, we should have no flashbacks or anything, no flash forwards this season. It should just be straightforward dealing with the crisis. Because now, I don't care about the upcoming crisis because you've already told me that it's gonna be a little tough, but things are gonna be okay. I don't care anymore.
And the part is you selling out. So crisis is supposed to be your big, release, your vinegar stroke, and you're spending it all on a fuck ass future that none of us care about.
And it's so weird because Arrow's entire season this year is I'm dealing with the multiverse. I'm assuming he's gonna be hopping dimensions, hopping into different universes. It's literally Crisis the show right now. And then you have this future shit where it's yeah, but never mind.
And then the future thing adds nothing to the table. They're literally fucking around.
They don't even reference the crisis. It's like they don't know about it. And to be fair, they probably don't. Your reference is the Monitor. But in the future, I'm talking about in the future. And to be fair, they probably don't, except for the fact that at least Connor And Mia's a baby, so she wouldn't know anything. But at least Connor is old enough to know that a crisis happened.
Well, why didn't Felicity just tell them, "Hey, your dad died saving the multiverse"?
Well, apparently in the last season, she went into the upper room too.
That's neither here or there. Like I said, this episode was a huge fall off. I mean, it was a couple saving graces here and there, but ultimately it was a little unwatchable. Like it, but hopefully next week will be better. But like I said, they don't really care until the end of the year.
I'm gonna say this one last thing about it overall. I don't know how you measure bumps in quality, but slight bump up from last season.
That is true.
Slight bump up, and I contribute that to the fact that they've slimmed down the cast.
But
I won't even fight that.
But that's enough talking about Arrow. Let's get to something that we really deserve. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick it off with Black Lightning. Right now, we're on season 3, episode 3. So right now, we're still dealing with the fallout between the Markovians touching down and pretty much all the lockdown of Freeland. This one, the ASA wants Black Lightning to go out on a mission. And right now they're trying to shop resources out to see if they can get this Markovian situation shut down. There's a lot of things that happened on this road, so let's get into it.
So this was an Odell heavy episode, and I actually like that. I like that.
Yeah.
We got to see into the mind of the dude behind all of this stuff. Just a little bit.
And honestly, it needed to be, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been critical of the writing that details his methods and how he works. And this episode, to me, allowed me to see how he thinks. But I'm gonna be honest, at the same time, I still think his logic is kind of flawed. Like you have people that will actually work with you. You don't have to backstab them and betray them.
It's all he knows, man.
So, speaking of Odell, I want to get into one of the highlights of the episodes. Khalil. Nelly no more, Khalil.
No. He is the last action Negro.
Now, we see Khalil come out.
Last action Negro.
I'm not doing that.
You had to make an evolution.
We see the last action Negro up here, and he's in full form. He knows 23 martial arts. He knows
several languages.
He knows how to kill with one hit, and we see him being brought back to the fray. How do you guys feel about this introduction?
So, I gotta say, I liked it. It's mostly funny to me how he was delivering his lines and how cocky he was coming off. It was this thing between, it was like cocky / I'm not sure what he was going for.
I just saw that he went from simp to pimp. Because before we got to this Khalil, he was so bitch made.
He turned around completely. Yeah. I hope this isn't jumping ahead too much, but his final fight scene at the end of the episode, full stop, don't at me. The best action scene the CW has ever done. I'm talking every show.
Even the Diggle and Green Arrow in the suburbs?
Better than that.
Okay.
Better than that. I don't even think it could get better.
This fight scene actually helped define this episode. It's one of the greatest scenes in there. And honestly, I didn't expect this from this actor. He is a better action star than I ever gave him credit for. But getting off Khalil one time, so we get introduced to Khalil, and he's all toned in. And then on a counterpoint, we get introduced to Henderson.
Okay.
Wait. Henderson goes to go meet the officer he's let them take in the last episode, and he goes to find out that she's dying. And then he's going to fill his last request. Now, let me speak on Henderson for a second. First of all, he deserved that slap. So this lady walks up in the street, calls him pretty much a sellout, and slaps him in the face. And you know what? She was 100% right.
I can't agree with you on that.
It was,
as a matter of fact, I saw that scene as another point in a point that you made a couple of weeks ago, which is, and a point that I made which is Freeland as a city is always looking for someone to save them.
Yeah.
And I want to say without saving themselves, and maybe that's a little unfair, but they're always like, they're asking where Black Lightning is. They're asking where Thunder is. They're putting all their faith in Blackbird. And in this episode, we see how, you know, like, they expected Henderson to be this superhero as well.
So let me push back on that one just a little bit. I understand their frustration with Henderson because this is their representation of law. As we've seen how the law has treated them in the past, they're like, okay, at least with a person who is from the community, he knows the struggles of the community and he can probably do something to combat this. But for him to go to the community and say, I'm pretty much just a figurehead and I'm useless in this time, they need some outlet to blame.
Okay, but I gotta push back on that. Yeah, if you want someone to blame the fucking ASA. They're the ones causing the problems, and I think it's unfair to measure Henderson's performance against a situation that not even a white person in charge in his position would have been prepared for. He literally came into a situation that is new to everybody.
And this is my thing about that too, like, so we can dog Henderson all we want, but what should he do? Like, you can say gather his forces and fight back, but if they wouldn't even stand up for Henderson when he was getting yoked out by 3 dudes, and the people, like, who's gonna rise up and fight the ASA? Because it's not the people. Because if they were that fed up, they would have done it by now.
Exactly.
You telling me it's metahumans not using their powers to fight the government?
And the citizens in Freeland, we see they ain't shit, because in the previous episode, you had that one dude complaining when Blackbird was trying to set him free.
And this is what, you know what, and I agree with you guys, but this is what I'm saying about the citizens. They know that they are powerless. They believe that they're powerless, and they need somebody to vent at. And right now, he's the lightning rod, because they can't vent at Black Lightning. They can't vent at Blackbird. He's the only tangible person that they can vent at.
And that's fair, because I understand that, because he is a visible presence. I just think that to completely say, well, he ain't shit because he's not doing anything, that's what I think is unfair. Because, like, what if he's, like, literally... If motherfuckers that got superpowers just let the government take them, what the fuck is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Now, wrapping up the Henderson piece, let's kick the ball down a little bit further. Now, we run into Odell, who's running separate mission plans. We see that he gives a mission to Black Lightning. He gives one to Jennifer,
yeah.
And he also gives a mission to Khalil. How do we feel about this deviation of power and how he's playing these metas?
So I want to say he played Jennifer like a fiddle, because
You called it too.
She's the youngest, so she's easy to manipulate.
She didn't ask questions.
Nope.
She didn't.
And I just want to throw out there, like, he knew that's how she would react. He knew her attachments, and he knew how powerful she was and what she can do.
I didn't even think she could do that.
So yeah, she just like blew up a whole facility with an energy blast.
Are we just not gonna talk about the fact that she flew?
No, that's what I'm talking about. Like, she literally flew to her assignment, and she leveled the entire facility with 2 blasts.
Yeah.
Like, Black Lightning can't even do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we know that she's more powerful than him at the moment. So
Yeah.
Also. So, but like, you know, one, she just kills some people. But hey,
she murdered a facility. So we ain't gonna pretend like the grass is green.
But because, you know, they're the bad guys, so we're just gonna sweep that. Sweep that under the rug.
Now that we sweep
This was the episode where she also had her martial arts scene in the high school, right?
No,
that was the episode.
Okay, sorry, I watched it all ran together.
All right, so Black Lightning, he gets a new suit upgrade before he goes to his mission. How we feel about that?
I love the suit. I love it. It even looks good.
Simplified, streamlined, black and yellow. I'm here for
Only
it.
thing I wish they did, it would have gave him a shape up before he left.
Yeah.
My thing is just like, hey, you have the same fro and beard as Jefferson, who was in detention.
I even love the technology of it.
Oh yeah, that it goes through the watch now. Mm-hmm. It's very. I love it, but the fact
I love it and I hate it because it's from the ASA, but it looks fly.
Mind you,
recording.
mind you, his mission is to go and find Dr. Jace because we later find out she's the person who's pretty much released the virus that's killing the Metas in Freeland. So now that we got all of that squared away, and even Lynn pushed back on Odell, I was like, look, I don't work for you. I'm doing this to save people because I feel like it.
And that's why the fact that this was an Odell episode was so good. We were talking about, like, you I know you have misgivings about how Odell works, but you gotta look at what he does. So when he goes to Black Lightning and when he goes to Lynn, he has to negotiate with them. You see how he negotiated differently with Lynn than he did with Black Lightning. With Black Lightning, it was easy to win him over and get what he wanted. He got him a new suit. He made him promises that he eventually kept. He knew he knows that in some situations you gotta eat crow.
Yeah, pretty much every character he gives and he takes.
Mm-hmm. On the other end of the spectrum, though, like when he's feeling himself or when he want to feel better about himself, he goes over and he tricks this young girl into go doing a mission, or he fucks with Tobias.
Now,
here's my issue. Here's the thing. That stuff I don't mind because it shows that the character has layers. A and B is like we see the mindset of the character.
he's complicated.
But my issue with that is like, is this something you really need to be doing when there is a looming threat that we know exists and is just as big, if not bigger, than anything they've ever dealt with before? Do you really want to mess with your allies like that?
He does. My thing is he doesn't see them as allies. He sees them as chess pieces. And what I see is that brain chip is right there on the horizon.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, he doesn't really see them as, I was going to say assets, basically. Like, I can use you for this specific reason. And I think that when he knows that the Pierce family are going to do good when time comes, he doesn't have to push them to do good. Mm-hmm. So if the Markovians get that far and invade Freeland further than what he's initially planning, then he knows that they'll just step up and do what's right.
Now, as we kick the ball a little further down the field, we get introduced that Grace Choi is back. Finally back into the field, and her and Anissa pick up where they left off. What would you like to say about
This
that?
is the weakest part of the episode.
I agree.
I gotta push back a little bit. One thing that I love about how they do relationships in this show is that they're actual relationships. It was, the fact that Grace...
Yeah, it was very mature.
It was a very mature conversation, and then it showed a side of Anissa that we rarely see, that whole caring aspect. Because even she said, I messed around a lot, but I want to see, I'm in love with Grace. I think that's the first time she actually said that. So it was very mature, very grown, and it was a growth of character for Anissa.
Did she tell Grace that she was messing around?
She did not tell her.
and that's my issue with that. Like,
also, did she ever tell Grace that she was a meta as well?
No.
Nope.
All right.
And the third thing, they dump it at you at the 45-minute mark in that episode. They just threw Grace out there, like, with no build-up. It's just like, hey, I'm back. And then I found it kind of weird that Anissa was freaked out that she is a metamorph. And when she changed, she didn't even change it to anything disgusting. She turned into an old man. And that freaked her out. I don't know, that just felt kind of off to me.
That scene itself was a little...
It was a little cringe-worthy.
Yeah, it was a little off-putting. And, like, she didn't, turn into an alien or something.
Yeah, she turned into another human being. So, I guess I would have to question, is Grace Choi really an old man? An old Asian man? Is that what they were trying to imply?
No,
because
I would say no, because they showed us her past, and she was a teenage young girl that was in the trade and all that stuff.
Did they actually show us that?
Yeah, Gambi found her files or something.
I'm on the line though. That's one of your superpowers. I turned into a 90-year-old man. But that's neither here.
To Uncle from Jackie.
Yeah. But that's neither here or there. All right. Now we finally get some clarification of what's going on with Tobias Wells. Odell goes in and he pretty much cuts on the lights and let it shine. And he's slow. He had one of the coldest lines in there. He's like, "That's all, I'm glad I have melanin or something." So Odell cuts on this light that's supposed to be like a minute in the light is like an hour in sunlight.
Yeah.
And,
At the beach.
Super UV.
and of course it starts cooking Tobias because he sees dead people. So he tortures him in there. And how do you guys feel about that?
So I didn't really like that scene in the grand scheme of things. I liked how it was playing off of each other. Like, I got some information. I'm willing to make you some deals. I'll even let you out and put you back in Freeland and let you go back to the status you were and maybe throw in a few things here and there. And somebody was like, I'm going to think about it. I may even want some extra stuff. I like that. And then he was like, no. And I was like, what is in this case?
Even at the end, like, he didn't even harbor any negative feelings for Odell. He was still concentrating on that ghetto glow worm.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Hold on. This is what I figured out too. And when he was giving him, when Odell was like, "I'll give you all this stuff, give you your territory back," and in the grand scheme of it's how insignificant the territory of Freeland actually is in the grand scheme. Because they like when it comes to the first season stuff, it was like we need the power grab, we have the 100, we taking over this block and everything. But Odell's like, that stuff does not matter. You guys are thinking on such a micro level that I'll give you your territories, I'll give you the 100 back. That doesn't mean nothing. And I think at that point, Tobias was like, wait a second. There's something bigger out there that I can get. Let me pull that back.
Okay.
So that's interesting that you say that. He got something different from that scene, and it was in regards to the concept of control. This whole episode was about Odell and control. He wants control over people. And when he sees he can't get it in one way, he go. If you notice, when he pulled back on Lynn, then it was, well, I'm gonna go fuck with Tobias. And then he realized when Tobias turned him down, he realized, well, my shit won't work on him. Like, I can't burn this motherfucker. I can't negotiate with this motherfucker. He has my number. So I'm gonna fuck with these kids. I'm going to get Khalil and Jennifer to do what I want to do.
Not to mention, he did force Odell to sacrifice one of his most important medicines.
Mm-hmm. You notice that right after the shit with Lynn, where Lynn was like, look, I'm helping you. I can drop this shit anytime I want to. Next scene, I'm going to go to the Freeland house. Jennifer, the Markovians, they killed Khalil's mama. But I know how you can get some payback. Didn't ask questions, nothing. She was just like, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
So, before we cap this out, I got to go back to Tobias because there was some next level racism going on.
Next level, it's more like old fashioned.
I cringed at the end. I was like, whoa, we can say that?
So yeah, I was a little confused at the end. Was that actually Jefferson coming back, or was he tripping?
I think Odell was just fucking with him.
No, it was a mental thing because he had on the old suit.
Okay.
So
So at this point, Tobias is tripping. He has all this stuff done to him, and not only did he call Black Lightning a Negro glowworm.
Ghetto glowworm.
Sorry, a ghetto glowworm. What did he call him at the very end?
I thought that was the last thing.
No, he said something else.
No, he said something. I was like, holy Jesus.
He
He seems like with your electric monkey ass. And I was like, whoa. As soon as he said it, I had to go outside and start a march. I was like, we can't do this.
So I got a question for you guys. Is there any capacity for Tobias to come back?
Of course.
But what would that be?
My thing, if they can bring back Khalil after having his spine ripped out his asshole and been murdered.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the difference with Khalil. He plays a different role now than he did in the last 2 seasons. How do you change Tobias's role?
Tobias is going to push for something.
Tobias always wants to level up. So,
and I think that's what we're coming to. Like Odell's going to say, "Hey, I can restore you back to your former self if you give me that information." He's like, "Deal." And then eventually some stuff's going to go down, and he's going to end up getting out.
He denied it though.
No. he denied the property, the money, and all that stuff. And then he was like, no, because there's more I can get. If you're offering me this, if you coming to the table with this, I know I can get more out you.
That's your opener.
Doesn't he want to be mayor or something like that?
Where at this point, he want more because he's
Actually,
like,
he's been a government official.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what he wants.
Because he's like, you coming at the table with this, that means you desperate.
Yeah, that's something that's interesting for me to see if they're going to push it that way. I want to see Tobias level up. So let's see where they go with this. Because to me, one character is definitely wasted. I don't think he was in this episode, but Lala, like he's kind of just waving in the wind right now. And I was just
Lala's back at home trying to see if his velour suit still fit.
I'm kind of tired of his character because his character's not progressing.
Okay.
So I don't want to see Tobias go that way. That's my
But I
only.
told you that, like he went back to drug dealing. The only thing that I can see is I think they trying to set up Lala to be the new Tobias well, and then have Tobias come back and fight for what's his.
Sure.
But if Tobias is trying to level up, then that shit shouldn't even matter to him anymore.
Right.
Lala can have it.
Like I said, Odell was like, I'll give you the streets back. I don't care.
Yeah.
But, we had a couple of mixed reviews about this episode, but we know we always look for more content from Black Lightning.
I just thought there's one last thing here. I want to reenact this part. Do you know that you can stop a man's heart with a single punch? It's called such and such, such and such. Oh, this is me with my not impressed face. Oh, you should add that to your repertoire. I already did.
Long like you were telling Odell,
I'm like-
I know you made me kill my mom. I'm gonna do that shit to you.
I'm like, how do you add things to your repertoire?
The same way you add 23 different martial arts to your repertoire. But anyway, like I said, we always look for more. But obviously this episode was pretty passable. So thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Just Us. There was some good episodes, some bad episodes, and there was just some why we've been watching these episodes. But like and subscribe, and we'd like to keep you guys updated. For the Patreon people out there, we will be starting our Patreon. As a matter of fact, our first episode will be consisting of The Watchmen, Titans, the Titan show, and also
Young Justice.
Young Justice as well. That will be featured out this Monday. So, pay attention to our Patreon because it will be coming soon. Like and subscribe. Until next time, peace.